Good morning, Crisis Intervention Resource Teachers. Today I am here to talk to you about what's new in your caseload. Good morning, Crisis Intervention Resource Teachers. Today I am here to talk to you about what is new in your caseload. And if you don't know already, my name is Adam Tinsley, the Behavior Specialist for the CCEIS program, or the Comprehensive Coordinated Early Intervening Services Office. So before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that you are almost through your first month of school. So please enjoy this cartoon to reflect on how already you've probably experienced challenges in helping teachers get their classrooms in order. So the first column that we're going to discuss is column E, signified here by the blue arrows, and that's our student with disabilities indicator. Try to make it look similar as it looks when you reflect on your data in Apex. So column E here, the highlighted yellow column, has a simple Y or an N to indicate next to our student or corresponding with a particular student and whether they're a student with disability. So if they are a student with disability, as indicated in column 7 here, which has a Y, then we put a corresponding Y to say that yes, this is a student on our caseload with a disability. And the N's, of course, signify that no, that student is not a student with a disability. So as you complete your caseloads and compile them throughout this year, please make sure that we are marking correctly if a student has a disability or does not have a disability. The next thing that is new on your caseload forms are the start and end dates. The start and end dates kind of help us identify especially at the end of quarters and at the beginning of years and end of quarters, are we moving students on and off our caseload as dictated by our plan, our CCEIS plan. So the start date is simply the date where you began meeting with your students and they started receiving your services, either in group support or in check-in, check-out support. And of course, remember, with our group support, we are giving those students access to the Rethink lessons. And then in check-in support, we're making sure that we're doing our goal-setting forms with our students and making sure that we're meeting with our students on a semi-regular schedule to make sure that they're meeting those goals as necessary. And we're supporting them in meeting those goals. So again, please look at the orange arrows that say start and end date. Our end date will be the time where we're no longer deleting students off our caseload. We're leaving students there, and we're just adding to the bottom when we're adding new students. So the end dates are just dates that they stop receiving group services, or if they were in check-in status, then and we're not meeting with them anymore, we put an end date there to signify that this student has moved on and is performing well in their setting in which they initially had their behavioral challenges. Next, we have our attendance rate. Timothy Hips, our instructional program coordinator, will be walking you through how to gather the attendance rate for students on your caseload. It is a simple process in which you have to go through Apex and it gives you an attendance rate number. We will be asking you for the attendance rate initially for your students at the beginning of the year based on last year's attendance rate. All right, that number will be given to you in a percentage when you go in Apex and pull an attendance summary report. And again, Timothy Hibbs, our instructional program coordinator, will walk you through that process. Also, as I go out and visit all of you at your various sites, please feel free to ask any follow-up questions regarding your caseload and how to access any information that is being asked of you on your caseload. Lastly, this is not new. However, I just wanted to acknowledge, and on this particular version of the caseload, it doesn't have the correct year, which I will certainly update as I've done in all of your caseloads. But we want to track by month the number of suspension days that your student has recorded in School Max and in Apex. So if we get to the end of the quarter and a student's suspensions have not been captured accurately based on the knowledge that you have, please just put simply the number of suspensions that are indicated in Apex or School Max. Right? Those numbers should match because those programs talk to each other. So at the end of every quarter, we will go back and review these numbers to make sure that we're progress monitoring and making sure that all of our students are on track to meet their goals, or if they've fallen short of meeting those goals, and we'll certainly know where to amp up our support, or whether we need to refer these students to sit and have additional conversations with key stakeholders to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that student is getting the support, the behavioral support that they need. So it might be more intensive, or we might need to, our data might indicate that, hey, the student has no suspensions and we can start looking to move them towards a check-in, check-out model, or that we can completely wean them off of our services. Lastly, I want to acknowledge that we want to share our caseloads with our principals. Make sure that, especially once you've completed your first go around in your caseload, just share this with your principals so that they can know all of the good work and all of the data that we're capturing and sending to the state on the behalf, just to make sure that we're meeting all of the needs of our students and that we are trying to support our students with all of the best behavioral practices that we have in our repertoires. Thank you for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing each and every one the next time I visit your school.